Well, good morning. It's quite morning, almost 6 a.m. Today the topic will be about the disparity of gender based on division of labor between the urban and rural divide. This topic was chosen by me, whether I have given my introduction before or not, that I also belong to Center of Urban Economic Studies of University of Calcutta. I used to be the alumnus of there. I am alumnus of there. I used to be the student of there. And I did this particular project on it. And I took the suburban area and urban area mainly, but the slums are also the urban slums and the rural slums, the way they are different from each other regarding the division of labor. So the very first thing that I need to tell is that this paper got selected for a particular presentation and also for might got published in out of station university. But when I was writing it, as I already discussed, this fact that because of my retina detachment, the time is very short for writing the full paper. I just saw that at the very last moment. So my abstract got selected, but for writing the paper, I wouldn't have been comfortable to complete it. So I preferred rather to make this a video for my students of not only sociology, but for women's studies, as well as for gender studies, as well as for the students of development studies, and also the students of urban economics or urban sociology. I won't include human rights over here because human rights will come up quite later when it will talk about the awareness. Now here I'll talk about the traditional roles that the urban and slum divide plays. The very important note that we need to know. First of all, rural is always agrarian, and we used to know and we used to perceive the notion that rural area had a very equal productive process between the two sexes, that is male and female. But unfortunately, in the urban area, there's the divide, and that's the reason why so many acts came across, the equal pay, wage, and all these things have come across. But in the agrarian area, the rearing, the domestic factor, the agricultural factor, everything has been done by both of male and female, irrespective of their sexual differences. Apart from the only fact that is the reproductive area of limitations. Thereafter, we talk about the traditional rules, we talk about the limited access towards the education, because women got indulged into the domestic sphere a lot, because they need to do the agrarian work as well as they need to do the domestic work. They need to do the primary socialization of the children. It's very pathetic for 2024 to know that even a boy who has qualified class 10th want to come to urban area to wash the drain just to say that I work in an urban area, I work in a metropolitan city. So this kind of agrarian work is very much disputable and that gender biased, and it also talks about the seasonal employment. There are various seasonal employment. Like sometimes in a particular area, this mall culture, this flat culture, the society we are living in. How many people used to know about the flat? Flat used to be called chol at present. I mean, at previous days, I mean, when there was Dharavi, for example, or rather, for example, even our Howrah, that Borobajar area. So that those things, the quotas that used to be talked about, are actually the flats. And now the flat situation has compared with the 5-star hotel almost. The hierarchy has come across, the Twin Tower has come across. So much of the pomp and splendor. Remember one thing, the thing that includes much more of advertisement. The vacancies sound much. Vacant vessel sound much, and that's the thing what will happen to all this pomp and splendor, because poverty and prosperity lies in the same body, as I always talk about. So now the urban slums, when we talk about, is actually talking about the informal sector. Now here there is a very important fact that I was being taught in my Masters of Philosophy, that is MPhil, in when I specialized in sociology, and this was also my topic out there. And I came to know about the informal sector, and I came to know about who are being called labor and who are actually just the workers. When you tell someone a labor, according to International Labour Organization, it's about article, I just don't remember the article. If it is there, I will just check. So they used to call, it's Article 1, yes. So according to International Labour Organization, Article 1, they are used to call labor when there is a relationship between the employer and employee with a remuneration, that is with a wage. Not during the period of barter system, it is during the period of the wage, actually the monetary transactions, when it started to be happening. So here, this one, I wrote this abstract yesterday and it got selected, and thereafter I just withdrew this paper because of the fact that I cannot write the full paper within two days because of my eye condition, and that's the reason I will be providing you with my blog, and you will get this entire thing that I'm talking about into a blog format where I made the abstract, and this will eventually lead to a paper later on, maybe because this will be accessible online. Thereafter I will be changing the parlances. So the identities that we talk about regarding the urban slum and engaging their responsibilities with household. I have seen people in many ways, the women going from the rural area or other suburban area to the urban areas. They used to hold the first train, and before that they used to wake up at 3 a.m. did all the work, the food making, cleaning off the dishes and everything, and they did every work, and then they used to go to the, and the most importantly, what are the food they used to carry? Just imagine the food they used to carry is kind of a boiled item, anything which used to get very pinacky when they used to have it, because I used to return around 3:30 p.m. of a particular public conveyance, that's the Indian Railway, Eastern Railway from Shialda station, and there were divisions of poverty levels as well, because what are the poverty levels? The foods that were being thrown out by the restaurants or by any privileged ढाबास thereafter. रोटी जो होता है, रोटी सब समझते हैं, जो गोल गोल रोटी in India, of course everyone will understand what is roti, chapati we call also. They used to burn it into the railway tracks, because the railway tracks used to be very heated up during the summer season, even in the winter season also. Whenever the railway tracks are being run by the train, with that friction also it gets very heated up. So they used to hit up those age-old chapatis, and they used to sell them to those people who used to come from the rural area to the urban areas, who used to work, because they had to come around 3 a.m. at night, and they're going back around 7 p.m. or 8 to 9 p.m. at night. 3 a.m. Just imagine the first train of Hashnabad locally. People not from Kolkata won't be able to understand these areas of northern sectors. So thereafter, this kind of agrarian work are very seasonal there, and it is also very informal and low skilled labor. Now here comes the part of the sociological parlance, that automation or other capitalism or the productive development due to division of labor, according to functionalist theories, who talked about the factors that the more the division of labor it will be, the more the the more of the production process will increase, the interdependence will happen, the collective consciousness will happen. But this actually it alienates people. I won't say, you might be feeling that this person is a communist because she's supporting Marx. But yes, of course, if you don't love your work, if you don't love the ambience of your work, there is a very important book that I reviewed. I hardly could remember the name of the author, but it's Made in India, MAID, Made in India. This was the book I reviewed. Because of so much of medicine and so much of injection, I tend to forget so many things. And as we all know that we are all human capital according to Bordu. So these kinds of multiple roles that the skilled labor couldn't play, because they come from the factor who are not aware of education, who doesn't have enlightenment of automation, who doesn't have enlightenment of machinery operations. So this, the vulnerability created a very bad kind of a precarious condition, and this challenged the dynamic of the empowerment and policy interventions. Thereafter, their social attitudes started to shift, and it addressed the gender-based labor. Because the structural functional factors that we talk about, is very much into the idea of roles, and also the factor that gives the notion, a fact of a kind of rebellious word that was coined, that is feminism. But it is not about the the fight between any sexes or any kind of gender rules. It's the fight of the mentality. And now I come to the gender identity here, because I was supposed to talk about the intersectionality and queer theory regarding this paper. So feminist theory here, we will see that all this LGBTQIA plus community, or ecofeminism, for that matter, ecofeminism also include Dalit feminism and also Bell Hooks concept of black feminism. So these are the applications that talks about human capital theory of the Bordu, because we are all the human capital. We are selling our services, and therefore we are earning labor. But previously, if we used to say that we sell ourselves to gain our livelihood, people would have taken it into a different level. But now see the economical and materialistic intersectionality that applied on the overview of the experiences, and thereafter the dependency theory, obviously being gender labored. And we all know that the first world, second world, and the third world had the two theories, the modernization theory and the dependency theory. And the dependence theory always talked about the age distribution, they talked about the population explosion, and I'll come across to another video about the Malthusian theory and also about the demographic transition, which will be talking about how the reproductive social theory took over the mitigation between the rural and the urban bridges. But the traditional gender roles and the strategies always addressed the inequality even today. But of course, there are certain point of actions that are being maximizing the contribution of production process. But the regions and the topography that we have, especially the non-traditional employment sector, whether it's irrigation, plowing, or as I told you that a grade 10 qualified person wants to come to urban area to do drain wash, but they won't become a farmer because that is below their standard. This kind of discrepancy and the regardless frequent engagement of women getting into both agricultural and domestic field is bringing back the period of polyamorous society, bringing back the period of what Kollur Lahiri wrote about Aholla, Kunti, Draupadi, and another woman as well, who had multiple partners, but still they are satis. Because why? Because nowadays the polyamory, or the kind of the lineage, whether I'll take the surname of my husband or not, I would always say that this kind of the access of humankind, or rather equal access of humankind towards the tolerance and secularity, should increase in near future, and that will be giving the gender identity. What we call swag is actually not a very good word for doing the plunging of this music, because swag was a particular emotion that came during the time of the homosexuality being introduced in the Western societies, and there were plenty of people got abrupt affected by it. And we also need to know that this fancy market we talk about, do we know that fancy makes our heart wealthy and wise, that it's a fancy market? But do you know, for a very trivial reason, during the colonial period time, for a very trivial reason, the Indians were being given punishment, that is the fasi that we called, you know, they were given the corporal punishment. And because the British couldn't pronounce fashi or fashi, fancy, whatever, they used to call them fancy. And when that period got over, after the tryst with destiny, you must be knowing, Jawaharlal Nehru, when Pakistan got independent on 14th of August in the midnight, and thereafter 15th August we got independent, and thereafter Jawaharlal Nehru talked about the tryst with destiny to make our country secular, tolerant, sovereign, federal, and also about the fact of all kind of democracies which could be introduced. So this particular fact of the imagination that many good looking word might have a very vociferous, perilous understanding, because you know the laborers of the urban and rural divide go through such a period of time and action that it's very difficult for them to rear upon their bodily strength, the food they have, and thereafter for them, you know, over here when I was doing my MPhil, my professor told me, do you know, Shrija, you're doing this work, do you have any idea that what they do about the money that they store, who are operating their wages, because they're coming for work to the urban areas. Now who are operating their wages? Actually the patriarchal paw of their family, either the husband or the the sasur, the father-in-law, or the son if he has grown up. So that was the time, because when I did MPhil, it was in 2018 I qualified, and thereafter, you know, it's just the momentum that was going on. And if anyone could sign, just imagine a woman doesn't know what is ABCD or what is Oa Kaka or Kaka, whatever languages are there in their terms. How will they sign? For them, signature is an emblem of educationally or rather literary gamut. But what are they doing? They have been shown that, see, this is your signature. So they are just painting it. They doesn't know what are the alphabets or what are it. So this major deviation, and very not very a supporter of ruling party of our at present condition, but still I believe in the fact that it was the time when, during this government, when the first trade union came in the domestic labor part, you know, and I will be mentioning that in my paper. This is only the abstract, but I will be mentioning that paper, that what is the NGO that regarded and held by the government of our now ruling party of West Bengal, who first in the entire world created trade union for the domestic labor, mainly gendered biased discrimination to be operated upon and also to be mitigated upon and niched off from the root. So this is the basic idea that I could have told at this time of 7 a.m. in the morning, because everyone is sleeping. I don't have any work. I have only work of writing and doing my projects and all these things. So this goes on. If you like my video, please like it, subscribe it, share my channel. You will be getting the link of this abstract that I have written yesterday. Though it got selected, I just withdrew my paper because my condition is really not well that I can write. As you can see that I'm just zooming to see the basic points that I would like to see upon, and sometimes I'm also I'm forgetting the things because of the fact that, you know, the ample medicine, first of all the eye drops and then the painkillers, it kills a person from inside totally. Okay, so now I'm not going into the bad mood. Let's have a very good morning and a very good day to come across, and I will be sharing the link of the abstract to you. Thank you so much.